Hi, Jay Smith with Model Aviation and Park Pilot Magazine. I'm here with Mark Freeland and the Saucerous. Mark, for anybody that doesn't know about Retro RC, could you tell us a little bit about your company?
Well, it's a retirement business that I started 8 years ago after retiring from Ford Motor Company. I'm an engineer, retired engineer, but I've been a modeler for most of my life. The company that I started off doing a couple of RC airplanes and quickly got back into free flight. So now it's more 80% free flight and 20% RC, but this is the latest RC design. It's also available as a control line airplane, and we'll get more to that later.
Well, being a fan of science fiction, it really caught my attention because it has that kind of 50s vibe. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this model.
Well, it really is a design from the 50s. If anybody is familiar with an airplane called the Sassy Saucer, designed by George P. Harris, it was published in Air Trails in April 1953 as a control line model. Stunt model, 24-inch diameter, intended for 29 size motors. Basically, I decided I want to do a control line airplane because I haven't flown control line in more than 40 years. So I made a scaled-down version with an electric motor and test flew that, and I thought, wow, this would be really cool if you could fly it RC. So I took on the challenge to convert it to an RC airplane, and this is the result.
So for anyone that might want to take on this project, do you have any tips?
Yeah, keep the CG where I tell you to on the plan. If you try flying it behind that, you'll have an experience similar to my very first flight experience, where you do a lot of touch and goes and unintended maneuvers. The CG needs to be right at the end of the sheeting at the back of the leading edge. Any further back and it's not a stable aircraft at all. CG in the correct place, you can fly it on any radio system. Beginners and intermediate flyers, I'd certainly recommend using a gyro stabilization receiver, which this one currently has in it, but there are several that have been flown without. That's the biggest tip. CG has to be right here. Add the lead, don't worry about it, she'll fly just fine.
Tell us a little bit about the equipment that's required for this model.
Well, like I said, I've got a gyro stabilization receiver. Basically, it's a 4-channel model, so you need a throttle with about a 18 to 20 amp ESC. The motor I have here, it's 28 to 2610, 1400 kV motor, flying it with a 7x5 prop. This is kind of oversized, and I did that basically just to get the weight of the motor. You can go down a step on the motor quite happily, and it'll still perform very, very well. Covering, you'll need to provide your own covering. I've covered this one in Solar Text iron-on fabric, which makes a very, very durable model. This one's actually hit a tree. There's actually a chunk out of the leading edge in here that is floating around there in the wing somewhere, but I've been just flying it on ever since.
What are your battery recommendations?
I'm flying this one with a 950 milliamp hour 3S, but you can go up to about a 1400 and it'll still fit in the battery compartment.
Beyond the CG that you mentioned, do you have any other flight tips for someone?
For taking it off of the ground, normally you'd expect to apply right rudder and a bit of up elevator to keep the tail down. Well, this is the opposite. You want some left rudder and some down elevator till she's rolling. Doesn't handle very well on the ground, so you've got to gun it and get her in the air. And if you don't have short grass, you can always toss it. Works pretty well.
And for anyone that would be interested in more information, could you give us your web address?
Yeah, my website is www.retrorc.us.com.
Okay, Mark, well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us about it.
You're very welcome, Jay, and it's my pleasure to be here at Muncie, flying in the Free Flight Nationals this week.
Look for a review of this model in the October 2016 issue of Model Aviation magazine.